Hello and welcome to another stellar edition of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast here on Newport City Radio. We're 7 days removed from us announcing we're going all in. We're 7 days away from going to All In, from being at All In at Wembley Stadium. Joining me as ever, the man who is going all in on this with me and the voice of that you hear pretty much every week on the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast, Curtis is with me.
Hello.
We are, as I say, we're 7 days away from All In. Has it hit you yet what we're about to do? What's about to happen?
Not necessarily. It has and it hasn't. It's a strange one. It hasn't fully settled in yet, but I can't wait for it. It's going to be a great experience. First time for everything, but what more could you want? And it's a huge step forward for the Are You Ready team.
It is.
And a huge step forward for Newport City Radio. I think it's one of the biggest things that Newport City Radio have been involved in, and it's a pleasure to be able to do it. This will be our 15th episode, and
our 16th episode is with potentially one of the best, if not the best, wrestlers in the whole world at the moment.
It is indeed.
How mad is that?
That is mental. Like, our 16th episode, we started just after WrestleMania, and now we're 4 months down the line, and the stuff that we've got planned over the next week is unbelievable. It really is.
It is unbelievable. It's mind-blowing. We're about to be so elevated here at the Are You Ready podcast.
We are indeed.
Did you get that joke?
Mm-hmm.
Well done, you. Yes. We're going to switch things up. We normally talk AEW and WWE. We're going to solely focus on the AEW promotion this week. As we say, we are going to All In. We will be there. Putting some tough questions, hopefully, to some of the wrestlers and Tony Khan and people like that, who I know you are personally excited to meet.
I am indeed. It's my birthday week, and Tony Khan is an absolute legend.
Of course. Hopefully he gives you a bout like he's given everyone else a bout.
Who knows?
Nudge, nudge, Tony, nudge, nudge. But before we do get to AEW All In at Wembley Stadium, the second consecutive All In, Curtis, they announced in the week that we will not be seeing All In for the third consecutive year at Wembley Stadium. Instead, they're doing their first major stadium show and first pay-per-view in Texas.
They are indeed.
And they are taking All In there next year with the idea that they will return to London in 2026. What are your thoughts on... Obviously, we've seen AEW go to certain markets and time after time their returns of... They haven't sold as many tickets or whatever, so... Do you think this is a potentially good move to give London a break, maybe a little bit of a breath?
I think so, yeah, because we've had not only AEW, we've had WWE there in the O2 London Arena, so London has had a lot of wrestling over the past couple of years. So, yeah, I think next year will be just a break from London having anything wrestling-wise, just to kind of give it a breather. And hopefully then in 2026, when AEW return for All In, hopefully it will be a mega show, and hopefully they sell out Wembley Stadium again, which I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will indeed. I think tickets were as low as £30.
Yeah, they was. So
hopefully, I think they sold about 50,000 so far.
I think the last time I looked last night, there was about anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 tickets left.
But obviously they'll have the ability to open up more sections of Wembley Stadium. We spoke before about WrestleMania potentially coming to London. Does the fact that they're not running a London show next year at Wembley Stadium reaffirm that London could be seeing its first WrestleMania, or do you think this has nothing to do with anything at all and AEW just want to have a break from...
Could we see SummerSlam next year there? Who knows? Could we see SummerSlam in Wembley Stadium in London next year?
Could we indeed? Just another thing as well, looking at WrestleTix on Twitter, the way that I think it's on Ticketmaster as well, the way that the stage is set up looks to be different from last year.
Yeah.
So last year, if you've seen where the wrestlers would emerge from and where the entranceway would be, is where you normally see the players run out, so they'd come out through the tunnel.
Yeah.
So they kind of took the tunnel and dugout area and turned that into their entrance way. But from the looks of things, this year the entrance way is going to be round the other side, round behind one of the goals. It's to the right-hand side of the manager's dugout.
Yeah.
As you see it, so
Is it
a little bit of...
Is it a straight ramp or curve ramp?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a straight ramp with AEW.
Yeah, is it just going to be from one of the goal sides straight to the middle?
Yeah,
So
I'd imagine there'll be a bit of a platform.
A long ramp, say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant, long ramp.
Yeah.
Kind of like we've seen at some of the old WWE shows.
Yes.
Like a long ramp with the Tron and stuff.
Yeah, so that's... If you take out one of the goal sides at Wembley Stadium, you're taking out good 10, 20,000 seats.
Yeah, you're taking out the whole segment of the behind the goal pretty
So
much.
I think a sellout for them could be 60,000.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll get to 80-odd thousand as they did last year. I think last year was set up purposely to break the record.
Yeah, I think it was their first... One of their first shows in Wembley Stadium.
It
So
was the first show in Wembley Stadium.
yeah, their
for
first show.
First show in
for
the
AEW.
UK.
Yeah, first show in the UK, so of course it's going to sell out. I think they kind of knew back to back that it probably wouldn't do it. It wouldn't sell out to 80,000 again, so it does make sense to change the setup a little bit, make it a bit different. I think it'll be relatively the same, but just obviously it's on the goal side instead of it being through the dugout, so most likely a longer ramp. That we'll see possibly a different shaped Tron, who knows. They could switch it up a little bit, or it could just be the same Tron that they had last time.
I think it could be a little bit different.
I think so too.
I think they could, because from the looks of things, they have taken out a lot of that goal side. There's not going to be fans. Maybe the rafters of Wembley Stadium quite high up in the gods almost.
Yeah.
But I think that they will block pretty much that side of things out. So, yeah, 60,000 might be a 65,000.
Yeah,
They got some tickets to be selling, and hopefully this card in Cardiff will help them do that. So we've had pretty much all the matches announced. Some that I'm really looking forward to. We got the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, who I'm not really a fan of his gimmick.
No.
I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. It seems a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I know what they're trying to do. Obviously, he's playing into the heel stuff. He's sounding a little bit more sinister with his high guys and things like that. But it's not hitting for me.
No, it's not. It's a bit strange, to be honest. It's not him, I guess you could say. The persona isn't great.
Well, last year when he wrestled with Ospreay, he had a show on the Friday night, which he is again this year, I believe, or the Saturday night in the Via Go-Go Arena at the O2. His band Fozzy are playing. I think they're supported by Swerve's band, or Swerve, because Swerve's also a recording artist as well as the wrestler. What's his band? He probably know. This is your area of music.
I don't actually know.
Because obviously they do his theme as well, don't they? So yeah, he's wrestling, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy. Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington, who was on Collision a couple of weeks ago against, I want to say it was against Dax Howard of FTR. Really, really impressed. I think he earned a contract off the back of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. Obviously, Chris Jericho is wrestling Hook, as it was announced on Wednesday on Dynamite that they will be having a match. A long time coming for Hook. I think Jericho won the FTW title, which Hook's family, his dad Taz, made famous in ECW.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that one. And the stakes for that one, Curtis, if Hook loses, he never has a chance to wrestle for that title again.
Yeah.
As long as Jericho is obviously champion.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good match, to be fair. It's always good when they put stipulations in, like it's a last chance for that title, or it's a career versus title opportunity.
Which we'll come on to after, obviously.
Even if it's just a singles match for the title, they always put good matches on. There's some really strong wrestlers on this card, especially in Cardiff. But I'm really looking forward to next week. It's going to be such a brilliant week for wrestling fans, especially in the UK. And especially for AEW fans.
Indeed, like yourself. Next match up from the looks of things. I'm just taking this purely off Instagram's Instagram, AEW's Instagram page, off their stories. Next match announced, Timeless Tony Storm will defend her AEW Women's Championship against a woman who won it last year in Saraya, obviously, formerly known as Paige. A lot of history in the UK. Her family obviously own a promotion up in Norwich, where she's originally from.
WAW. WAW.
Yes, thank you. Obviously, we've seen her brother Zack Zodiac, who you're a big fan of,
Yeah.
appear a couple of times for AEW. Obviously, Toni Storm, as we said, it's a go-home show. She's the world champion. She's going to wrestle her former protege, Mariah May, at the pay-per-view. So, obviously, either a Toni Storm win or a interference from Mariah May. But Curtis, Saraya won the title last year, as I say. You disappointed or not disappointed? Are you surprised not to see her on the card? Obviously, being from the UK will have a lot of maybe impact on tickets and things like that. If you see her, you might buy a ticket to go and see what she's doing, or she has a bit of a name value in the UK.
Especially with the film that she did as well. I am shocked that she's not on the card.
At the moment, of course.
At the moment, yeah, obviously it could get announced in Cardiff that she could be on the show, but so far I am shocked that she's not on the card because of her name. You'd think that it would boost ticket sales as well a little bit, but who knows? Who knows?
Something we do know is the next match up is Kazuchika. I can see this potentially main eventing. The AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada wrestles against Claudio Castagnoli. Yeah. That's going to be an absolute barn burner, Curtis.
That is going to be a really good match.
Anything else you want to add, or is one sentence enough?
I think my one sentence is enough. The names do it justice, I think.
Going to be brutal, I think.
Brutal. I think that just describes it, doesn't it? Brutal. Brutal's a pretty good word, I think.
Do you know who Kazuchika Okada is?
Yeah, I think so. I'm better with faces, you know. I'm better with faces than names. Oh, yeah. So I'm looking at... okay, so the other one. Yeah, I know him.
Multiple-time G1 winner in New Japan, multiple-time New Japan IWGP World Champion. Yeah. Again, surprised that he's not on the card for All In. Could see something announced. Obviously, his partners in the Elite, the Young Bucks, are wrestling against FTR and the Acclaimed in a trios, in a three-way tag, which we're getting really, really looking forward to. But surprised that that's on a Dynamite rather than, obviously, you want to stack your go-home show before a pay-per-view, which they have done. But, yeah, surprised this match is on a Dynamite rather than a pay-per-view. Curtis, something that I'm looking forward to, you're looking forward to, the whole world is looking forward to. We're going to see a face-off, a face-to-face between the American hero, Mr. America himself, MJF, and the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay.
Yes, what a face-off that is going to be. I'm hoping they may have a little scrap beforehand. Just a little teaser for All In. It's going to be an epic face-off. Two phenomenal, probably you could call, and is the two best wrestlers in the world.
So obviously AEW's the best wrestler.
Obviously the best wrestler there. But Will Ospreay, phenomenal wrestler. I've got a big respect for Will Ospreay, and MJF, he's done brilliant over the past couple of months.
Ever since turning heel, obviously, when he came back off his injury time, at Double or Nothing, he was still a babyface with heel tendencies.
Yeah.
But since he turned on Daniel Garcia a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite in the main event, right at the end, we've seen the old MJF return that gained so much popularity, especially in feuds against the likes of CM Punk and Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes, and it's just refreshing to see one of the biggest stars in AEW and professional wrestling return to his probably best character, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's doing great. I really like his persona at the moment, and I'm more than excited for this match. But what we've got on Dynamite as well and Collision, but Dynamite mainly, a face-off between MJF and Will Ospreay. So that'll be a big preview for what will happen on All In on the Sunday. Yes,
and there is going to be a wild card in Cardiff match for the final spot in the AEW World Trios Championship match. Do you have any predictions on who that could be, who could win? There's no teams announced. It's going to be a...
Is it random, is it?
I believe so.
You dare. You dare. Do you know, I haven't actually thought about anything. I don't know.
You don't know any... I knew you were going to try something. I'll just wake up in the middle of the night after you stood over me ready to shot me or something. AEW teams.
You do realise the mic's on.
All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, no, I put them back up. Oh, you did? Oh, someone put them up.
I put them back up.
You put them back up. Well done, Curtis. Well done, you. AEW. All Elite Wrestling. Roster.
I want to go home.
How do you think I feel?
Well, I don't care about how you feel, quite frankly.
Oh, sorry.
I've got so much to edit for this podcast. You've decided to give me a absolute tartan of a show.
The Dark Order team.
The Dark Order.
The Gates of Agony.
The Gates of Agony, we'll go in that one.
Got the House of Black already. Blackpool Combat Club.
Big Bang Bang Gang.
They're already in the thingy.
I know, I'm just reading it.
Eddie Kingston. The Elite.
The Elite.
No, they've already got matches.
Well, give me a team then.
The Don Callis family, go on.
The what?
Don Callis family.
The Don Callis family. Okay, right.
Say you don't watch AEW. Don't say you watch AEW.
Don Callis family.
So, Curtis, wild card match, final spots. In this trios title match, which is now a 4-way match, a London ladder match. We'd still talk about Collision. This is the only thing announced, I believe, so far for Collision. They'll announce a couple of things when we're there on Dynamite. It's for the final spot in this match. It'll be broadcast the night before All In. Who do you think will be the final team to advance to All In? So, Curtis, who do you see being the final team to win this match in Cardiff on Collision and advance to All In itself?
The Don Callis family.
Quite a few trios teams. Could we see maybe a surprise?
Possibly.
Who knows? I know Konosuke Takeshita has recently finished up in the G1 Climax over in New Japan, one of, if not the biggest tournaments that they have and biggest events they have, and quite a big event in professional wrestling itself. So you could have him back as a surprise if you are to be correct. You could have people like Carl Fletcher in there for the Don Callis family, Takeshita, as I say. So many. I think you could see the likes of the Premier athletes involved in the match itself. Obviously, we know already we're going to see the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, and also we're going to see the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne. So I personally think, you think the Don Callis family, you're going to want to get as many big names on the card as possible, aren't you? We've seen that last year when they had multiple trios matches and 6-man matches and multiple, like, I think it was a 5-on-5 Anarchy or Stadium Stampede match, I believe, between different people. Overall, though, I believe, where are they gone? I think you could see the Undisputed Kingdom.
Do you think?
I think so. I think we could see a trio of Roderick Strong and I can't think of the other two names. You got Roderick Strong. I can picture them. Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett. Yes, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Undisputed Kingdom, who are kind of the trio in that faction. Obviously, Adam Cole's out injured. Wardlow is doing whatever Wardlow does. So that, I think, could see a pretty good match at Wembley Stadium. Obviously, more matches for Dynamite, probably Collision as well, or more segments for Dynamite, more matches for Collision to be announced, as well as the card for All In. There's currently 10 matches listed. I believe Fightful Select said the last time that they checked there would be about 10 to 13 or 12 to 13 matches, so there's another couple to be announced, which will obviously be announced in Cardiff. On Wednesday night, one of them could feature Saraya, as we mentioned just then in the podcast. Curtis, though, well, we know that All Out is going to be 2 or 3 weeks after All In. Last year, it was the following Sunday, which was a bit mad, because it seemed like a mad rush with the build and things like that.
Yeah, they've given it more time this year, haven't they?
Yeah, so kick-off. Normally for AEW, like WWE, they've gone a little bit earlier with their kickoff shows. They have 2 hours rather than the traditional hour or whatever. But the only match announced so far, and again, there'll be more matches announced, is Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, which I'm really looking forward to see wrestle. Yeah. Take on Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii in a mixed tag team match. Obviously, Statlander and Nightingale, we're really, really good friends, best friends. With Stokely Hathaway kind of leading them and managing them. Statlander turns, I want to say it was at the last pay-per-view. Who do you see winning this one? How do you see it ending? Who will have who will be able to choose the stipulation of the match at All Out?
I think it would be Willow Nightingale as well.
So, are you looking forward to that match? Ishii, a Japanese legend who I'm looking forward to see. I believe he was at the last All In last year, but it's really nicely done with Stokely Hathaway being involved in the match, and it obviously just another match in the ongoing feud between Statlander and Nightingale.
Yeah.
Which then takes us on to the main cards. At the moment, the main card consists of 9 matches. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 more to be announced, which kicks us off. Again, as with all previews here, card is taken from our very good friends at Wikipedia. For this matchup, Timeless Tony Storm goes up against the former protege, the Glamour, Mariah May Curtis. Mariah May won the Owen Hart Foundation tournament a couple of weeks ago. Tony Storm went up to congratulate her and celebrate with her, only for Mariah May to turn on her, leaving Tony Storm in a pool of blood with blood all over her face. It was quite a scene, to be fair. Obviously, we know AEW isn't as conservative with use of blood as WWE typically is, but I'm really looking forward to this match. I don't know about you. The build's been quite cool. You know, they've been going back and forth, surprises, and obviously the turn was really, really well done. Yeah, singles match for the AEW Women's World title. Tony Storm's had it for quite a while. Do you see Mariah May winning it in her home country?
Yeah, I do.
Do you? Yeah? What are your thoughts on everything?
Build-up's been great.
What's been your favourite part about the build-up?
I think the very first bit of it when the Tony Storm come out to congratulate Mariah May, and the turn there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What else have you liked about the feud so far?
I don't know. I'm going to ask you a question, though.
Yep.
Who do you think is going to win?
Tony Storm's had the title for a while, and I think she's dipping in between heel tendencies and babyface tendencies. Obviously, Mariah May turned on Tony Storm. Even when she is a heel in some of her matches, she seems to go through a cycle of starting off as a heel, then moving a little bit more babyface, and the opposition or opponent working as the heel, and then she a babyface, and then she ends up switching back around again, or the other way around. I think Mariah May, her time is now. She's a really, really good wrestler. Did really well in Stardom out in Japan. Obviously, really, really good on Wednesday night to bring Amira Shirakawa, who wrestled Tony Storm at Forbidden Door and was Mariah May's tag team partner in Stardom, which they kind of explored a little bit going into. Forbidden Door, but I feel if Shirakawa is at Wembley, I believe she might have an impact in the finish, and I think she'll go with her former Stardom tag team partner Mariah May, and we'll see Anu for the second consecutive year at All In. We will see a brand new AEW Women's World Champion. And for the second consecutive year, that champion is going to be from these shores, and it's going to be the Glamour Mariah May.
I think so too. I agree with you. The same, to be fair. Going to be a good match, and I think Mariah May will come out victorious at the end.
The next match on our card, which to me seems like the biggest match on the card. I don't know about you, Curtis.
Yeah.
It's probably received, outside of the main event, the most amount of spotlight and attention between two of the best professional wrestlers walking God's green earth today. The American hero Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, takes on the former international champion, as it used to be known, Will Ospreay, for MJF's American Championship. Curtis, who do you think takes this one? Do you see Will Ospreay regaining his title? Obviously, MJF won it on Dynamite in a 59-minute, 58-second classic between the two of them, which ended up with him going out on a stretcher and with oxygen. Do you see Will Ospreay retain it or regaining in his home country? What do you see happening here?
I'm going with the hometown hero, Will Ospreay.
Why?
Well, he lost the title in the 60-minute match, time limit match. He's in his hometown. He's a phenomenal wrestler. The storyline in the build-up's been brilliant towards this match. Their personas at the moment are brilliant. They're both doing extremely well to build this match up. But I think Will Ospreay will come out victorious, and he will bring back the AEW International Championship.
There we go.
I was so close to saying Intercontinental then.
Which I believe he binned a couple of weeks ago, MJF, when he unveiled the American Championship. he threw it away in the trash because he considers it trash, obviously, being the American hero that he is. I think it's a really good changing, I want to say gimmick. Obviously, we know MJF, when he's a heel, he is the best heel in all of professional wrestling.
He's better than you and you know it.
He's better than you, Curtis, and you know it.
Of course I know it.
But someone he might not be better than is Will Ospreay, and we will see that on Sunday at Wembley Stadium. But as we mentioned earlier, first we will see them come face to face in Cardiff on Wednesday on Dynamite.
Indeed.
Which, do you think you could see a stipulation potentially, or do you think it'll be a straight one-on-one wrestling match?
I think there's going to be a stipulation, you know.
What stipulation?
I'd like to see like an Extreme Rules type thing. Something to make it brutal. Something to, like a no disqualification match. Something that they can use chairs, they can use thumbtacks, they can use pretty much anything to their advantage and just turn it into just a brilliant match. The two names by himself is brilliant. Add the title into it and then add a no disqualification into it. What more could you quite possibly want? So I'm really looking forward to that match, and I think we could see like a no disqualification, a no DQ, or like an Extreme Rules type match. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be a stipulation?
I don't think so. I think obviously the first match was so good, they are going to do it again. You just put those two, as you just said, you put those two in the ring together and they'll just
do the work for you.
Exactly. They'll tear the house down, which they will, you know, as I say. Feels like a shit main event, but obviously it won't. Maybe that opens the card. I don't know. But yeah, really looking forward again. I think Will Ospreay will win. I think he'll get the win over MJF in his hometown. I think I'll hit the Tiger Driver 97, which he hit on Danielson and nearly ended his career, which then he, since turning babyface Ospreay, hasn't used since.
Yeah, he retired it, didn't he?
He's retired it, so I think...
Funnily enough, I've seen the clip of that this morning on Instagram.
Either he'll use it and win, he'll go to use it and hesitate and won't use it, which leads to him losing.
That was actually a good
As
shout.
a babe, obviously in kayfabe, with him being a babyface, so try and hit it, either fail or he can't do it because he's a babyface and he's trying to be a good guy.
Yeah.
And MJF will then be a heel, hit him with a Dynamite Diamond ring or whatever, and cover him 1, 2, 3. And new
AEW American/International Champion.
Yeah, it win an American title, especially in the storyline that MJF's brought it out because he's the American hero, because he's the American champion. It wouldn't, that storyline. I get the US title in WWE, but something like that wouldn't really work on Will Ospreay. No. So I see Will Ospreay winning and then turning it back into the International Championship. The next match on our card is Darby Allin against Jack Perry.
It is indeed.
Now, cast your minds back 12 months ago.
Yes.
All in. Jack Perry goes back from his match against Hook. And then he returns to the site of that moment, which was shown on Dynamite a couple of months ago, to wrestle Darby Allin, 2 of the 4 pillars in AEW, alongside Sammy Guevara, who won the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles last night, I believe, on Collision, as well as MJF, of course. But there's not been a lot of hype around this for me.
No.
Jack Perry, yes, he's a tidy wrestler, but, you know...
And it's not just a normal match either, though, is it?
No, it's a match that's, I think, was associated with Sting a little bit, and obviously Darby Allin is very much in that Sting mould.
Yeah.
It's a coffin match, which we've seen last year between Sting and Darby Allin and Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland, which is always cool to see a coffin match. Obviously, you got to get the coffin, you got to get your opponent in the coffin, and then get them down and close the coffin down on them, which, you know... What do you think of this match?
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of build-up. There's been
a little bit, but not as much as I'd like.
It's lacked promotion, in my opinion.
Well, I think the Taco Bell advert got more promotion. If you've seen that clip on Twitter where there are a vignette of Perry backstage talking or doing, I think he was cutting a promo on him. And then halfway through the promo, a Taco Bell commercial started to air. And I remember watching that thinking, is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, good old Taco Bell.
But I think this all stemmed from Blood and Guts a couple of weeks ago. Perry was handcuffed to the ring or to the cage even, and Darby Allin was going to hit him with thumbtacks or throw something on him or do something extreme though in Darby Allin, and forced a match out of Jack Perry for All In, which he's got, and we will see on Sunday. I think we'll see, and still I think Jack Perry only won it at Forbidden Door, the last pay-per-view that they had a couple of months ago. So personally I do see and still here, Curtis.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, same reasons as I've just outlined, or what do you think?
Same reasons. Yeah, pretty much the same thoughts, to be honest. Both in pretty similar minds.
Yeah. So last year for All In, there was a lot of hype around it, naturally anyway, because it was the first stadium show for AEW, it was the first show in the UK for AEW. Combine it all together, plus it's Wembley Stadium, plus they ended up breaking the record for the biggest attendance in wrestling history. Add to all that the fact that we've seen Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, in the crowd, Curtis.
Yeah.
That was quite surreal to see. We've seen her for New Japan, obviously, since her contract with WWE was up. But to see her actually appear for AEW, or not just appear, just be in the crowd for AEW, and then to show her on the screen was a little bit surreal watching it last year.
Yeah. Not something that I expected, to be honest, but it's wrestling. I wasn't expecting Sasha Banks to leave Mercedes Moné to leave WWE, formerly known as Sasha Banks in WWE. But obviously stuff happens. There's fallout, and maybe it was the right move for her that she felt. But what a match we've got for her on All In. From last year being in the stands to this year being on the card.
Indeed, she goes up again. You can kind of call her one of the... Well, obviously she was one of the 4 horsewomen of the WWE Women's Revolution alongside Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks. She was Sasha Banks, and Bayley and Becky Lynch. I was very surprised when she left WWE. Gotta be honest, to see one of the 4 horsewomen of WWE appear for AEW, I thought was crazy. It's pretty much the same as, say, Charlotte Flair appearing, or Becky Lynch going over, or...
I mean, there was a chance that Becky Lynch could go over.
I don't think there's that much of a chance, if I'm being honest.
Never know.
But yeah, she goes up against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. It seems like one of the big pillars of women's wrestling going up against each other.
Indeed.
What do you make of the bill for this match? What do you think of it all?
It's been good, to be fair.
Spoke last week on the pod. Before we move on, Moné, Britt Baker, who do you see winning and why?
I see Mercedes Moné retaining. I think Camille will possibly distract Britt Baker, possibly distract the referee, and maybe that gives Mercedes Moné the opportunity to make Mercedes Moné retain.
It's kind of like a bodyguard for Moné. Now, this could be quite interesting. This is where we potentially could see a return, in my opinion. A return indeed. A return that we've been hoping for a while, well over a year. The return of one Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter.
She's been, obviously, again, another wrestler from the UK.
Yeah.
Been out for, I want to say it's over a year now, with injury. Obviously, it's Mercedes Moné with someone, with Camille as I just showed Curtis, kind of like a bodyguard, backup, intimidating figure at ringside. What's better when it's, say, a 2-on-1 beatdown, one of the referees maybe distracted with Camille, or the referee's taking a bump and it's a 2-on-1 assault, as we see so often. To return, I want to say it's in her hometown as well, for Jamie Hayter to return. Biggest pop of the night, probably one of the biggest pops of the year. It would just be so cool to see her return in this match. So yeah, I'm going to make a prediction. I think she might return in this match. I think it's not very likely, but I'm going to make the prediction anyway. There hasn't been really an update on her status and her injury update or whatever. But the next match, I think, could be interesting.
It could be interesting.
And
indeed.
it could be where we see a debut, another debut, or
2 debuts.
2, because the next match on our card is the Casino Gauntlet match for a future world title match. And at the moment, the only wrestler confirmed, I think he's going in last or first or something, he got the advantage, is Orange Cassidy. Because of course it is, he is Tony Khan's favorite wrestler.
Of course he is. Yeah, there's 2 returns I see happening in this, not returns, debuts, sorry, happening in this match. A Casino Gauntlet match, obviously for a future shot at the AEW World Championship match.
You'd think it would be with some pretty big names in this match, wouldn't you? They'd fill the card up.
I think there's 2 names pop into mind. 3 names, say.
One of them is Ricochet.
Yes.
One of them is Bobby Lashley.
Yes.
And the other is Zack Zodiac. I'm just reading your mind here, Curtis.
So, as in Casino, jackpot. There you go. You got the jackpot.
Thank you. What's my prize?
To go see All In.
Oh, lovely. I'll take that as a prize. So, yeah, I see. So, I don't know how many is going to be in this match, the Casino Gauntlet match. How many's normally in the Gauntlet match? Is it 6, 7?
6, I think.
So we know Orange Cassidy, he wrestled on Dynamite against... my mind's gone blank here, Curtis. Tell me out. Who did he wrestle on Dynamite?
Who did he wrestle on Dynamite? I do not know.
He wrestled against...
Against who?
Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong.
Roderick Strong.
So we said earlier about the Undisputed Kingdom potentially being in the 4-way match for the World Trios titles, but could he be in this? Who knows? Yeah, I think the 2 front runners are Ricochet and Bobby Lashley, potentially to be the Joker. One name to not count out of it is also Jon Moxley, who we haven't seen in a couple of months since we seen him lose the IWGP World title to Katsuhiro Naito, I believe, at Forbidden Door. So he could potentially be the Joker. But you'd think for their biggest show of the year, they'd have at least one major surprise for us.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a good chance that it could be Ricochet. We know he's left WWE. He's a free agent. And ever since his contract was up and he didn't re-sign, we've said it multiple times on this podcast, especially when the news first broke out, that Ricochet could go to AEW. And I think what a better way to do it than to get that pop and get that crowd going in a Casino Gauntlet match, as the Joker and Ricochet will debut in this match.
I think so as well. A thunderous ovation from the crowd at Wembley Stadium.
A thunderous ovation from us as well.
Yes,
Don't
from
forget.
you.
From me.
So, obviously, to be announced, in your expert opinion, who would you like to see win a shot at the world title?
Ricochet.
Do you think he'll win it in his first match?
I think so. Possibly. I would like to see it, but it could be Tony Khan's favourite. Who knows?
Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It depends who appears in the match. We don't know. There could be a massive shock surprise.
There could be. But on the other hand,
Who do you think?
I think Jon Moxley.
Yeah,
I think Jon Moxley will return, win, and he'll either... I'm going to make a prediction. I think Bryan Danielson will win the world title. I think he will. He said that this is going to be... His contract's up and he's only wrestling this match. But I see him winning, and then there'll be a couple... He said he's not retiring. He's going to have, reduced schedule. He's not going to wrestle as often. I think he'll wrestle all of the pay-per-views, so maybe he'll appear on Dynamite. Have a Roman Reigns kind of schedule to compare it to someone or something that you might be a little bit familiar with. But Blackpool Combat Club member against Blackpool Combat Club member. One of the first major feuds for Danielson was, I believe it was against Moxley a couple of years ago at at Revolution. So I think Moxley will win, get a title shot, and then he will go on to be the first challenger for Bryan Danielson's newly won AEW World title.
That is a good shout, to be fair.
We already spoken briefly about the next match on the card, Chris Jericho against Hook. Jericho, his gimmick hasn't really landed with us here. in the studio. Hook will win, I think. It's the last chance for Hook to win the FTW title. I see him taking that. Hook being the babyface, and there's quite a lot of story behind him winning, obviously with the links with his family, so I see that being a Hook win, Curtis.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes. Next up, a match that I'm kind of looking forward to. The Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the current AEW Tag Team Champions, take on FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Howard, and the Acclaimed in a three-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. That's a bit of a mouthful there, Curtis.
It is indeed.
FTR, one of the best tag teams in the world. I'm really, really looking forward to the Acclaimed. I think the biggest thing for them is the rap at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that's something I'm really, really excited about. There's plenty of really good matches on this card, which I'm really looking forward to, but I think this is one. I just hope it's not the Young Bucks doing Young Bucks things, because Dave Meltzer loves those things, but it doesn't really land with an audience sometimes.
No.
I hope FTR, as I say, they are one of, if not the best tag team. I'm going to say that they are the best tag team in the world, and the Acclaimed so over as baby faces. Obviously, Caster and Bowens, as I say, with the rap and everything. I know, obviously, Adam's a big fan of the Acclaimed, especially Anthony Bowens, with the links to the LGBT community and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think of this match? Who do you think will win? Do you think that the reign of the EVPs will be over, or do you think they'll retain in some heelish fashion?
I think they're going to retain in some heelish shenanigans.
What do you see those heelish shenanigans being?
Well, I really don't know. It could be anything with the Young Bucks. They're very unexpected.
I think FTR had the titles last year, and they beat the Young Bucks at Wembley Stadium last year in FTR Young Bucks 3. Chances are the Young Bucks will retain. They only got them a couple of months ago, so it would make sense for them to retain. I don't think FTR will win. The Acclaimed have a shot. They have a chance. Obviously, last year they ended up winning the World Trios titles against the House of Black. So if anyone's going to take the titles off the Bucks, I see it being the Acclaimed. I don't know about you, Curtis, but
yeah, I think the Young Bucks are just going to retain. In heelish fashion.
Maybe set up a one-on-one match at the next pay-per-view, which, as we said, All Out is coming out in a couple of weeks in Chicago.
I believe it's in early September, I believe.
Yeah, first weekend or second weekend of September in Chicago.
Yeah, I think it could set up a solo one-on-one match. But yeah,
tag team match, not one-on-one.
Yeah, tag team match, sorry. But yeah, I think the Young Bucks will leave All In and still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. Match
number 9 on the card. It's been a long preview, long breakdown, long edition of the Are You Ready podcast. We're nearly there, though. The Patriarchy, consisting of Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne, who are the current AEW World Trios champions, go up against the Bang Bang Gang, consisting of Juice Robinson and the Guns, against the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Rhea Ripley's freshly wedded husband, Buddy Matthews. And one more tag team to be decided, which we will find out on Collision, aka Wednesday, for us in the UK, because obviously it's being taped in Cardiff on Wednesday night. Curtis, does it depend on who that fourth trio is, in your opinion?
It's going to play some part in the match, obviously, but it's all dependent on who gets in the match and takes that final spot. But
here's a suggestion for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if MVP is ready to wrestle, but Bobby Lashley's a free agent.
He is indeed.
Shelton Benjamin's a free agent. You get where I'm going here? This is pie in the sky thinking. This probably won't happen. I'm 99.9% sure this isn't going to happen. But could we see the Hurt Business?
That's actually... You say it's not going to happen, but that's actually a really good shout, That is actually a really good shout.
They're after another trio.
They're all free agents.
Obviously, the fourth member of that, Cedric Alexander, is still in WWE.
It is a wild card.
Is that wild enough?
I think that is, What a surprise that would be.
That would be, but then the surprise would happen on Collision rather than All In itself.
Yeah, I reckon it could happen,
It could happen.
It could be a way to sell some final last tickets.
It could be indeed, but
It's a sticky one. There's a good chance that it won't happen, but if it does, then, well...
It's pie in the sky thinking, but if it comes up, it'll be awesome to see.
If it does happen, you heard it here first.
You did hear here first. Indeed. So who do you say you had winning that one? Can you remind me?
Depending on who the fourth team is, but from what I'm looking at now, I think the Patriarchy.
I agree with you. I don't think, again, that they haven't had it for long. I don't think it would be nice for, obviously, Christian Cage and the guys to retain. So I think that's the way it's going to go, which leaves us with our main event. Which, high stakes, Curtis. High stakes.
You say high stakes. It is huge, high stakes. It's
for Bryan Danielson.
It is a title versus career match for the AEW World Championship. The champion walking into this match is obviously Swerve Strickland, and he's going against Bryan Danielson.
So, yes, high stakes indeed. If Danielson loses, his career is over. Main event, Wembley Stadium, in front of 60,000 people, we hope, or at least 50,000 if tickets move. Curtis, Danielson, is this the final chapter? Is this the final countdown on his career?
I want to say no, but something's telling me yes.
The thinking originally, when Will Ospreay signed, going back to him, was it was going to be him against Swerve Strickland in the main event of All In. Will was going to win the world title. Swerve, I think people called him a transitional champion.
Yeah.
He'd only have it he went off Samoa Joe earlier this year, first couple of months this year, I believe, and they were saying that he'd only have it for up until All In, which looks likely when you put a career on the line. Obviously, we know Danielson's contract's up. We know he said he doesn't really want to wrestle as many dates anymore, and he hasn't said he's going to retire from wrestling, but from the looks of things, he might have no choice.
I think this is the last chapter for Danielson. I think there's a good chance that he will lose this match, and I think
You think this is the final countdown?
Yeah, I think this is the final countdown.
Or could this be a way for him to leave AEW and maybe return to WWE?
Maybe it could be. Maybe he could
for a final couple of matches.
Maybe he could leave and come back to WWE, come back to his home for wrestling. But who knows what could happen. But what a match we have on our hands here. The main event of All In.
Well, you should know what's going to happen, Curtis, because you're going to correctly predict the winner.
The winner of this match is going to be Swerve Strickland.
You think Swerve's going to retain?
Yeah.
I think Bryan Danielson will win. I think he'll be crowned new champion. I think his career won't be over just yet.
Do you think he'll stay in AEW?
I think so. Whether it's a period deal or whether he signs a maybe contract extension for a year or whatever, I don't know. But I think he does, and also I think he'll come out to Final Countdown by Europe, which he's done a couple of times. I think it was his theme on the Independence when he was in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
20 years ago. The likes of CM Punk, Samoa Joe, that era for Ring of Honor. So overall, Curtis, we think there'll be title changes, debuts, surprises, returns, and everything else in between that you normally expect with a wrestling show. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to go All In?
10. We've got Will Ospreay, the best wrestler in the world. MJF, the second best wrestler in the world.
Ooh, we went there. You went there.
I did go there indeed. Bryan Danielson is also on the card. Mercedes Moné, just the whole card from start to finish. Chris Jericho is lacking a little bit, but the names, some of the other names on that card and some of the matches that we've had be announced for this card it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a great experience to be there live, to be all in. We'll be watching All In, going all in. How
many times can we say All In a podcast? I'll leave that to you listening at home. We will catch you, hopefully, in a couple of days' time. Episode 15 of the podcast. Episode 16, I believe. One of the two.
This will be episode 15. The interview will be episode 16.
Hopefully it'll be a sweet 16 here for us on the Are You Ready podcast. We'll catch you, hopefully, with the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, who will take on MJF at All In. If not, you will catch us probably next weekend as we do some kind of special recording for All In itself, whether that's a review the night of or whatever. If not, we'll be back for a preview/review of Bash in Berlin in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, all I'd say is keep an eye out on the social media pages. Are You Ready on Twitter and Instagram, Newport City Radio everywhere else, or MP City Radio as I think it is on Twitter and Instagram, Newport City Radio on Facebook for all the information, for the latest and the most up-to-date news for the Are You Ready podcast. So thank you for listening to another brand spanking new edition of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast.